What's up guys, it's Jam aka Character 3 here, and today we have a deck profile for DRAGUNITY FTK, and this deck is ridiculous as it lets you win on the first turn without having opponent interaction. That may sound really evil, but yes, if you're playing this deck, make sure your opponent knows that it's this deck that can actually just win like that, so they can accept that they lost without actually having a turn. So, word of warning to anyone who's planning to build a deck, make sure it's like that, or you get beaten up or something. Can't come back to me saying, oh, I got knocked out because of you. No. Yeah, anyway, this deck is a flexible FTK deck. You can start with 3 cards and that's probably game. But sometimes you can have 4 cards and it's usually game as well. It's a flexible OTK, you can open with different combinations of cards. So yeah, let's get into it. The first part of DRAGUNITY engine is triple Ducks. It's an excellent card, just brings back Phalanx from the grave, equip it on a normal summon. He takes up most of the normal summons that you have in this deck. And of course, 3 Phalanx. Opening Phalanx is excellent, never a bad thing. And the 1 Mistleton. I would play 2 most, not 3. 2 Mistletons, but I've only got 1 at the moment. You can manage with 1. It's basically the same as a Garuda or Instant Fusion, so that's why you want it. But these 6 cards here is more important. And then we have 2 Garudas. Basically, you just banish a Ducks from the graveyard or a wind monster. Most of the time it's Ducks to summon it. That lets you get out your second level 6 Synchro Dragon monster. You need Garuda because he's a winged beast level 4. That means you can make a Vajrayana or a Gadag with it. As with all DRAGUNITY decks, they have a red MD, excellent card, but in this FTK it's ridiculously good. It's very essential in this deck. Drawing it is not a bad thing because you can always summon a Phalanx from the deck instead of him and then banish the Phalanx to summon this one. So it's not a bad thing to draw it, as I said. And now we have the Blackwing part of the deck, only 2 cards. We have Zephyros and Steam the Cloak. Zephyros, you probably know what it does. By the way, if you don't know what most of the cards do, look it up on Yugioh, because I won't be explaining most of the cards. I'll try to go through this quickly, and only explain the more weird cards like Steam. Zephyros bounce a card and blah blah blah. Usually bounce red MD, so you can use him twice. That's the reason why you play him. And Steam the Cloak. Now this card is a strange card. If it's in the graveyard, you tribute one of your monster and summon it from the graveyard. Most of the time, if not all the time, you summon a red MD and you do this effect and you dump this one and you get this guy back by tributing the red MD. Now this guy, if this is the field, you make a level 1 token, so it's useful for this deck because you need it to make the level 7 synchros later on, which you will see in a bit when I explain in another video where you do the FTK combo. Keep in mind, both these effects from the graveyard are only once per duel, so make sure you do it correctly because it's once per duel, you can't fix it or anything. Now the Gusto part, nothing special about this engine apart from just summoning this level 1 from the deck to start off a lot of the combos. Griffin's interesting. If you pitch it from the hand, triggers in the grave and lets you summon a Gusto from the deck. This is the only target, so you don't ever want to draw this little guy since it's it can let you brick. But if you open him, it's not the end of the world. You can Norden it back, but you have to somehow send it to the graveyard. Most of the time you use Ravine by discarding it. Griffin also triggers if you pitch it off Ravine, so that's another cool thing you can do. You get a spare card in hand if you do that, and that's all the monsters that we play. And for the spells, we start with Ravine. Field spells in this deck is very important. You need to open at least 1 field spell, but opening Ravine is more crazier than what you think, because it's a field spell plus it lets you add the combo pieces, so that's what I meant by it's flexible. And of course we play 3 terraformings because it's basically a Ravine. Ravine's at 2 at the moment, so we need just for this. So it's either Terraforming or Ravines is the best opening card that you can have. Now if you have a spare Terraforming, or you already have Ravine in hand or the Terraforming, you don't want to waste it, you play Chicken Game. If you don't have Ravine and you have Chicken Game, you can also do the FTK. Not a problem. And the 2 overfield spells that we play is a Black Garden, plays Fenix FTK. So we do these 2 cards. Just play one of each. You don't want to draw Fusion Gate, but you can draw it and it's still okay. But it's a dead card until midway through the combo. But Black Garden is excellent to open it as well. It's basically a field spell that you can use at the beginning. The idea of Black Garden is to spam your opponent with 5 monsters. So Blaze Phoenix can do a lot more damage on the field because there's more monsters and more cards on the field. So there you go. Now that's all the field spells that we play. Fusion Gates, just if you know what that does, just does fusion by banishing cards. Triple instant fusion. Northern's probably the obvious. Oh god, that sleeve is fucked. Remind me to replace them because I'll probably forget. These sleeves are old. Yes, triple instant fusion. Pay 1,000, get that Northern. But sometimes you get Marvelous, so it lets you do some of the combos. Actually, I think 80% of the time you do get Marvelous, so Northern's just a plus for other combos. And triple refusion, pretty necessary because to play it free, because Tainted Dragon has to search this card. So you give your opponent these 3 cards and pick one at random, and it's going to be refusion most all the time, unless if you somehow use this earlier, which is possible. I'll show you one of the combinations, and that is when you add a Divine Lance instead, and we play 3 of that one. That makes this deck more amazing, as you can actually have the 66% chance of doing it, because Divine Lance is an equip spell. Now Divine Lance is a sort of new card, it's quite old actually, it's about a year old. That lets you equip onto a Dragunity monster and equip one from the deck, the Dragon monster. So it's going to be Phalanx, that's the only target. And that's basically a Phalanx in the graveyard, so equip it to Lux, get a Phalanx equipped to him. If you don't have a Phalanx in the grave. Triple Upstart, controversial card in this deck. But if you use one, you should be alright, since if you have a spare card, the back row, you set it, and that's a 9,000 damage instead of 8,100 damage in the end. Now the one-offs of the spells is Soul Charge and Foolish. Foolish is basically to send Phalanx to the graveyard, and Soul Charge is probably one of the best combo pieces that you can have, since it's very, very flexible. But it's a one-off, so it's not consistent. And 2 MSTs. For games for games where your opponent chooses for you to go second, and they always pick to go second if they win the dice roll, because they know what deck you have. If you play this deck, it's a scumbag deck, so they'll know. It's the reputation. Yeah, in my locals, I usually go second if I lose the roll, because this, and MST sometimes makes you win because they sometimes set 1 back row or 2. And you hit the right one, like Warning or Fiendish. But if you don't want to play MST, you can play Into the Void, which is quite expensive. I don't have any of those, but you can maybe drop these and drop 1 more Upstart for another Mistleton, if you can. Probably the only recommendation I'll do later on. Now for the extra deck, we've got of course the Dragunity pot. It's a Vajrayana and a Guide. It's basically a Lavabo chain for this deck. It's ridiculously good because it sets up the plays. You use it about 3-4 times, I don't know, and you set up the FTK from there on. You can only make them with level 4 Wing Beast and a Dragon Tuner, so you always do Phalanx and Garuda and stuff like that to make them. Now, a lot of FTKs that's similar to this have not existed. Well, actually, they've not existed. So they've been disabled because Lavabo Chain got banned. So the rank 4 builds have no longer viable. Now, this is the replacement for this deck, so it still works, which is amazing. And more dragons. We got a level 6 dragon. I don't even call it by its name, but it's Red Wyvern. It's a new card from High Speed Riders. You don't need to play this card. You can play a level 6 dragon like Iron Chain Dragon or Oriental Dragon. I think this one's just the best one. It pops a 2400 plus monster in the field, but you rarely use it unless if you don't FTK, because you got no other choice but to summon him. He's generic. That's the main reason why you play him. You'll see why I'm going to combo things I show you later on. We play one Atom. This is why we play level 6 Dragon, because you can overlay an Atom over this guy and a Guidog, and Atom usually summons a random D from the deck. If you have random in hand, you summon a Phalanx. Simple as that. And the most fun card in the extra deck is awesome Fenix guy. Marvelous Insuffusion target, the essential one for this deck. It's because it's level 4 Winged Beast, that's why. And it's also win as a plus, so Garuda can banish it. And double Norden. The second one is pretty much necessary if in the beginning of the combo you go through one Norden, because later in the combo you go to the second one. Now that's it for the Dragunity part. Well, this is not Dragunity, this is just for the Dragunity like toolbox kind of thing. So in a Dragunity deck you'll probably see these cards, probably one Norden or two, and that's 7 cards I believe. Now the rest is just part of the FTK. Now you were probably wondering why only one Vajrayana. That's because we can't put any more. There's no more room. The rest of the stuff takes 8 cards to do, and there's the Synchros. Now 2 Ancient Fairies, you need 2, because you pop the first field spell, and then with the second one you pop the second one that this one gets. You get Black Garden first, and then you get Fusion Gate second. Unless if you open Black Garden, in which case you don't have to do it. And then we got Powerful Dragon to search the refusions. Pretty much necessary. Now the 2 level 7s usually overlay these 2 later on into Galaxy Tomahawk. This guy is a machine. It's detach 1 and generate as many tokens on the field. Most of the time you make 3, well, all the time, to do the FTK. And Benevisor, nothing special about this card apart from it's a pyro monster. Therefore, and it's generic, so you can just Xyz with 2 level 4s. You'll be Norden in another level 4 that you resurrect with Norden. You see later. And the best card, the Blaze Phoenix, the Burning Bombardment Bird. To fusion into it, you need a pyro monster and a machine monster. Now you know this guy can generate 3 machine tokens, and you fusion the machine tokens and the pyro guy into this guy, and it burns for 300 times the cards on the field. That's why Black Garden gives you opponent 5 monsters. That's the field spell zone. That's already what, 1800, and plus your monsters on the field. It will total up into quite a lot. So with 3 cards you do 8100, with 3 cards plus a set card is 9000. So that's what I meant by Upstart being decent. Played at 1. But if you play more than 3, like one-on-one like what I do, then be careful with using a second one. I usually pitch it with Ravine anyway, so yeah. There's the deck profile for the thing. It's not the best build in my opinion because it's missing cards like Mistleton, but you can fix those easily by just replacing the cards. But this is the one I've been testing for quite a while, and it's very, very, very consistent, and it's fun to play on your own. So yeah, shout outs to Tainted Wisdom for this deck idea. Check his channel out, and yeah. On to the combos, and you probably don't know how to do them, so yeah, I'll be doing them in another video. So yeah, check out the next video. Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Hope you like it.